In 1972, a CIA negotiator sat across a table from a hostile adversary. The adversary made a demand. The negotiator said nothing. Not for a second. Not for 5 seconds. For 43 seconds, he held complete, unbroken silence. The other man eventually broke. He restated his position, then weakened it, then offered a concession he had never planned to give. The negotiator never raised his voice. He never argued. He simply refused to fill the silence. Here is what nobody tells you. That kind of power is not a personality trait. It is a learnable technique. And the people who understand it are using it on you right now. The question is, are you aware enough to see it happening? Welcome to TheMindShadow. This channel exists for one reason: to show you what most people are never taught about power, psychology, and the hidden mechanics of human behavior. What you are about to learn is not motivational content. It is not theory. It is a precise understanding of how silence functions as a psychological force and how it has been used for centuries to dominate conversations, expose deception, and extract truth. By the end of this video, you will see every interaction differently. You will recognize when silence is being used against you. More importantly, you will know when deploying it yourself becomes the most powerful move available. This is the art of strategic silence. Let us start with what silence actually does in a social exchange. When you speak, you reveal. Every word you produce gives the other person data about your confidence, your anxiety, your position, your desperation. Most people treat silence as a gap that needs to be filled. They feel it as pressure. They interpret it as awkwardness. So they talk. And in talking, they expose themselves completely. Now consider Abraham Lincoln. Before major political decisions, Lincoln was notorious for falling quiet in meetings where everyone else was arguing. He would listen. He would say almost nothing. His advisors often mistook this for uncertainty. They were wrong. Lincoln was gathering. He was letting others deplete their arguments while he conserved his position. By the time he spoke, the room had already exhausted itself. His words landed with the full weight of a man who had not wasted a single one. That is the first principle of strategic silence. Restraint is not weakness, it is accumulation. Every word you withhold becomes stored authority. When you finally speak, you are not adding to noise. You are cutting through it. Think about someone you know who commands a room without trying. Chances are they speak less than everyone else. Not because they have nothing to say, because they understand that volume dilutes value. If you speak constantly, your words normalize. People stop hearing them. But if you speak rarely and with precision, every sentence becomes an event. People lean in. They assign weight to your words because scarcity creates value, even in language. Here is where it gets darker. Silence does not just make you appear powerful, it actively destabilizes the other person's psychology. There is a well-documented phenomenon in social neuroscience called the social pain response. When someone goes silent during a conversation, the brain of the person facing that silence registers it as a form of rejection, literally. The same neural pathways that process physical pain activate when we experience social silence from someone whose approval we seek or whose reaction we are waiting on. This is not metaphor. This is measurable brain activity. So when you stay silent after someone makes a statement, their nervous system begins generating distress. They feel the need to resolve it. And the fastest way to resolve social pain is to talk, to explain, to justify, to offer something that ends the discomfort. This is why interrogators use silence as their primary tool. This is why the best therapists speak far less than their clients. This is why the most effective negotiators in the world make an offer and then shut their mouths completely. The silence becomes a pressure chamber. The other person builds the pressure themselves. You simply do not release the valve. There was a study conducted at Columbia Business School examining high-stakes negotiation outcomes. The negotiators who used deliberate pauses after offers, pauses of just 4 to 7 seconds, consistently extracted better terms than those who immediately followed up with clarification or justification. The silence communicated one thing without saying it. I do not need this as much as you think I do. And that belief alone, shifted the entire dynamic. Perceived neediness is the death of leverage. Silence is how you kill it. Now let us talk about how this is used against you. Because it is already happening, in your workplace, in your relationships, possibly in your closest friendships. Manipulative individuals and emotionally controlling people use silence as punishment. You will recognize this pattern. You say something they dislike, or you assert a boundary, and suddenly they go cold. They withdraw their communication. They become unreachable. What they are doing is activating your social pain response deliberately. They are using your brain's hardwired need for social connection to punish non-compliance and reward submission. This is called the silent treatment. And while it looks passive, it is one of the most aggressive psychological tools available. The critical difference between strategic silence and manipulative silence comes down to intent and direction. Strategic silence is neutral. It is self-controlled and outward-facing. You are managing the dynamic of a conversation. Manipulative silence is weaponized inward. It is designed to make you feel responsible for someone else's emotional state. Once you can see that distinction, you cannot unsee it. When someone goes silent on you, ask one question internally. Am I being given space, or am I being controlled? The answer changes everything about how you respond. Because here is the correct response to manipulative silence. You meet it with your own, not out of aggression, out of refusal. You do not chase. You do not explain. You do not send the follow-up message. You allow the silence to exist without panicking into it. The person using silence as control expects you to collapse. When you do not, the technique fails completely, and they lose the tool they have used on you for years. Now here is the revelation. Remember the CIA negotiator from the opening. 43 seconds of silence that extracted a concession no argument could have won. Here is what I did not tell you. That negotiator later described what he was doing during those 43 seconds. He was not strategizing. He was not calculating his next move. He was simply refusing to be afraid of the silence. That is the entire secret. Most people's inability to use silence comes from one source: their own discomfort with it. They cannot stay silent because the silence makes them anxious, and so they talk to soothe themselves. They give up leverage to manage their own internal discomfort. Strategic silence is not primarily a tactic you deploy on others. It is a relationship you build with your own stillness. The man who can sit with silence, who feels no compulsion to fill it, explain it, or apologize for it, that man communicates something wordlessly that no sentence can replicate. He communicates that he is completely at ease with uncertainty, that he does not need your validation to feel stable. that he has already decided something, and he is simply waiting for you to arrive at the same conclusion. Every room you walk into has people performing, talking, posturing, filling space with noise. The one who stays quiet, grounded, and watchful is the one everyone else becomes slightly nervous around. Not because he is threatening, because he is unreadable. And unreadable people hold all the power. Start practicing this week. The next time someone makes a statement that expects an immediate reaction from you, pause. Count 4 seconds internally. Let the silence exist without apologizing for it. Notice what happens in the other person. Watch them reach toward you. Watch the dynamic shift without a single word leaving your mouth. If this video opens something in your thinking, leave a like. It tells me to keep going deeper. Subscribe to TheMindShadow for weekly content on dark psychology, power dynamics, and the mechanics of the human mind. There is far more to uncover. I will see you in the shadows.